Hi, my name is Hannah. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be filming my everyday makeup routine. This is the makeup that I wear when I go into the office or when I'm working from home. I've done most of my skincare already, but I wanted to show you guys this on camera. It's the GLAMGLOW Glow Starter Moisturizer. The scent isn't too overwhelming and it dissipates pretty quickly once it's on your skin. So as you can see, this basically it moisturizes the skin and just gives you a really healthy glow. Next up, I use this Tatcha primer. This is the travel size of the Silk Canvas primer. And basically what this does is just smooth over any kind of texture on your skin or anywhere you might have oversized pores, which is right next to my nose normally, and then the tip of my nose I like to get. And then I also put this over the areas where I'm starting to get fine lines, just so the makeup can glide over those areas just a little bit better. And then I also put it right here because for some reason foundation just never sits well between my eyebrows. For foundation, I've actually been using two lately because I'm in between two tones. I've been using this Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation SPF 15. And this is in the shade Cool Ivory 1.25. And then I mix in the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, and I have this in the shade 5.5. So what I do is I normally just use the back of my hand as a palette. So there's the Bobbi Brown, and then I'll just add a little bit of the Luminous Silk Foundation and then mix them up. I'll take the excess that's on my finger and just dot it on my skin. I've been lately really liking using a damp sponge to blend in my foundation. The sponge really is the way to get the most natural coverage and the most glowy look. So as you can see, this foundation mix is actually a pretty good match for my skin. We're just blending and blending. That's the key to get a really natural makeup look too, is just keep blending your makeup. Now for concealer, I use the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This one is in the shade Vanilla. And I actually put it kind of where a football player would put eye black. I really concentrate it right at the bottom of, you see these dark circles? So I'm gonna take my sponge again and just blend that out. I like to follow the line right above my cheekbone with the concealer, and then I take any of the excess product and I put it in the inner corner of my eye. And this concealer is really natural. It has enough coverage so my dark circles don't peep through, but it still looks like skin under my eyes and it doesn't cake. So before we powder, I've actually been really enjoying this Cheeks Out Fenty Bronzer in the shade Butta Biscuit, if I can get it open. As you can see, I've really been loving this, and lately what I've been doing is just using my sponge, and I don't know if I mentioned this is a Real Technique sponge, so nice and cheap. I just pounce it in the product and then lightly apply it to my face. I like this technique because it kind of applies the bronzer almost like a wash of color, like watercolor. The thing with bronzer that you want to think about is starting on the edges of your face and then dragging the color in. Then I always take it up to my hairline and my forehead, and then I go back and blend, and I always put a little bit on the bridge of my nose. I really love this Tower 28. It's the BeachPlease Blush in Magic Hour. And the reason why I love it so much is that it's a cream blush, so it looks super natural. But also this blush color, I don't know if it's gonna pick up, but it's exactly the same color that my cheeks naturally flush, so it looks really natural on me. So I just take this. This is a Sephora Pro Brush 98. It's just an angled cheek brush. And I start kind of on the outside of my face, just like I did with the bronzer, and I drag the product into the apples of my cheek. So one trick I really like to do is to really pull the blush up underneath my eyes. So instead of just the apple of the cheek or just on the contour of your face, I pretty much take my blush right on top of my concealer. And the reason I do that is because, as you saw in the beginning of this video, I do have some pretty serious dark circles, and just bringing your blush up helps your cheeks look more full, and it covers up the dark circles pretty nicely. Today I'm going to use the small end in this CoverGirl Clean Fresh Powder. I use the shade 120 Fair. And I like this for under my eyes because it's really light, but it still has some coverage. So it just helps just that much more with the dark circles and the discoloration. And I put the powder very lightly, just tapping it, not dragging it, anywhere I put the concealer, and then along the contour and cheekbone of the face. And I always like to put a little bit in the areas where the foundation tends to come off really quickly, like the tip of my nose and on my chin. So for powder bronzer, I'm going to use this Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. So what you're going to do is just use circle motions with a big fluffy brush. Nothing too densely packed, because if it's too densely packed, it's going to put too much of the color on your face at once. And then slowly just drag the color onto your cheek using circular motions. I'm not too precise with this, because with the powder bronzer, I'm just trying to bronze up the skin. I'm not trying to contour my face, so I'm not super concerned with where the powder is falling. I use a blush that's essentially the same color as the cream blush. So this is a MAC blush in the shade Gingerly, and it's their sheer tone blush. And I start at the apples of the cheek and just swipe up. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then I just put a little bit, actually just here, kind of where, like if you were wearing sunglasses all day, you would get a little red spot, or if you were out in the sun, you would start to get a little burnt. I just love that look. So I'm actually gonna take my foundation sponge. It still has a little bit of product on it, and I'm just gonna go over everything. And what this does is really blend everything together a little bit more and tone down some of those more pigmented products like the powder bronzer. For the last step, I'm gonna go in with a highlighter. I really love this Essence Pure Nude highlighter in shade 10, Be My Highlight. And it's just super natural. So I'm going to take this same Hourglass brush and just very imprecisely go over my cheekbone and then drag it up my hairline over my brow. So what that does is just give you a very natural glow, and it doesn't look makeup-y at all. I also like to take this down my nose. Today I'm going to be using the Tartelette in Bloom palette, and I really like this palette because the tones are super neutral and super usable and wearable for every day. I'm going to start with the shade Charmer, just covering up any discoloration and veins in my eyes. Next, I'm going to use Jet Setter in the crease. This is actually my favorite color in the palette. It's just the perfect crease shade for me. I'm going to take that same color and just kind of build it up on the outside, connecting it into the crease. Then we're just going to take a big fluffy brush like this and just blend that transition into the cream shade that we laid down first. We're also going to take a small little dense brush and take that same Jet Setter shade and just run it underneath the eye. So now we're just going to warm up the lids a little bit. So I'm going to take this Smarty Pants shade. It's directly under Jet Setter. It's basically just a little bit more of a warm tone brown. And I'm going to take this on the outer half of my eye and just work it in and blend it into that more cool tone brown shade. And then lastly, we're going to take this shade Smarty Pants. It's a pink in the bottom of the palette. It actually reminds me a lot, if you have used the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk quad, there's a pink in the upper right hand of that quad that's like a peachy pink, and I feel like this pink is a really good dupe for that color. We're just going to put this right in the center of the eye, blending it into that brown. And what this is going to do is just add a little pop of something, a little pop of color into your eyes, which will really make you look more awake. And then we're going to take our blending brush again and just blend, 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 and make sure there's no harsh lines and everything is nicely blended in. Then I always go in and just add a little bit of brightness back to the eye. So I'm going to go into this Charmer shade and just put that in the inner corner, almost like I'm cutting the crease, because those shadows have really kind of darkened the lid on the inner corner. So we want to bring some light back and some highlight back. I think that looks good. We're actually going to take that Charmer shade just one more time and just put it right in the inner corner of the eye. I really love a matte inner corner highlight because it just looks so much more natural than a shimmer, especially for every day. Okay, now we're done with the powders. So what I'm going to do is actually take a spray, and this is just like a rose water scented spray from Amazon. And what this is doing is melting all those powder products down onto your face. So I'm going to take this Anastasia Beverly Hills brow gel. This is just clear, and just lightly run this through my brows just to tidy them up a little bit. Normally I just wear mascara when I'm going in the office. I love a winged eyeliner, but I just never have time to do it in the morning, so I just stick to like a pretty natural looking mascara. And I've been loving this Lancome Teint Idole mascara because the brush is like the perfect shape for curling your lashes, and then it also has these, like, I don't know if you can see, like little spiky bristles, so it's just really great at separating your lashes and making them look just naturally long and curled. See how much of a difference that made? Here's the eye with mascara, and then here's the eye without. I've been really loving this Makeup Forever Artist pencil, and this is in the shade Wherever Walnut. I also really like Anywhere Caffeine, and I like this because it's just a nice natural pinky brown. I normally just line under my lip right here because that's where a shadow would naturally fall if you have naturally plump lips. Put the liner there and then kind of blend it out. Sometimes I'll put it on the bottom of my top lip too, just to give the illusion that my top lip is a little bit more full. I find that lining underneath your lips is a lot more realistic looking, especially in person, than trying to overline, say, like your Cupid's bow or the top lip. So a color I've been wearing a lot lately is this L'Oreal Paris Color Rouge. I think it's called lipstick or lip stain. It looks like it would go on like a liquid lipstick, but it's actually like not drying at all. It's a little bit more long lasting than a cream lipstick or a bullet lipstick, and I really like this shade. I feel like it goes really nicely with the rest of the makeup. And then lastly, I do like to put on a gloss, especially a gloss that is very balmy. So I use the Sephora Colorful Gloss Balm in the shade Earth Angel, and it just adds a little bit of shine. I like this for work because there's no like glitter or sparkles in it like the Fenty glosses, but it does kind of like help fill in those lines in your lips and just give your lips a nice healthy shine. That's it for my everyday makeup routine. This is what I'm going to be wearing to the office today. If you found this routine helpful, give it a thumbs up, and I'll be sure to make more content like this on my channel.